Welcome to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast, providing business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs with the 3 INs: insights, inspirations, and intentional actions. Delivered through monologues and dialogues, we address topics like leadership, productivity, time management, work-life balance, and challenges like stress, conflict, mental health, and much more. Please do not hold back from suggesting specific topics and guests you would like on this podcast. Greetings and welcome to this episode of Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success. Shoulds. We are going to talk about shoulds today. The title, I will come back to that shortly, but first I just want to let you know what we are heading in for today. It is about, or I will share with you, how you can shift the shoulds from being depowering, is that a word? Depowering to empowering. So that's where we are going. The title of this, I have been debating with myself for the last few days whether I should put the F word in there because it originally was there, and I will share that with you as well, how that came into being. And I just couldn't make up my mind. And then eventually here I am. So I am going to put the word in there, and then feel free to pop in the comments whether you think that was a bad idea, a good idea, or a great idea. So fuck the shoulds. That was a title that came up for me quite a number of years ago for the idea of yet another book that I decided not to write. And kind of semi-inspired from the success of Mark Manson's books, Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck and Everything is Fucked. And I really appreciate those books. I can recommend them if you haven't already read them. Given the young age, relatively young age, it was that when he wrote that, it really blows my mind the amount of wisdom that he managed to put into that first book, and then the book that came after. There's some really good stuff in there. So that's where I sort of came up with the idea, I'll write a book, and I will call it Fuck the Shoulds. A number of people told me, that's a bad idea, you're just trying to copy somebody else, and no, don't do that. But that wasn't the reason why I didn't write the book. It was like, at that moment in time, is like, I don't need to write yet another book. I need to focus on something else. So why that title, and why the title of this podcast today? And again, the way it came about, or the way that I reasoned it, was by putting this in front of my audiences and checking in and asking the question in the title, fuck the shoulds. What's the main swear word in that sentence? And no, we can take the out. No, nobody voted on that one. There's 2 words left. And the majority of people said that it was the F word. And then that gave me an opening, which, like, you might be thinking the same right now. But that gave me an opening then to say, well, that's not the case for me. The swear word in that sentence for me is the word should. And it should be banned. Of course it shouldn't, but sticking to the sentence and get rid of those shoulds. Why would I want it banned? Which I don't, but why do I see that word being so bad? And I think if you don't already see that, you will by the end of this episode, as we're going to go through it in some detail. And I'm going to provide you with an opportunity to actually experience that feeling that the word should have on most of us. So the reason I don't consider the F word in that sentence to be as big or bad a word as the should is because there is so much, so many ways to use that F word in actually quite positive, wonderful, enhancing ways. Um, I don't think you can tell me otherwise. That there is any other word, one single word in the English language that has as diverse ways of using it with so many different uh, like using it in so many different ways. I don't know how else to put that. And there was and hopefully you can help me here. Like many like a number of decades ago, I watched a documentary about that word, which really fascinated me. And I reason in the last few months I've been trying to find it and I can't. So if you know of that documentary or can find it for me, I would really appreciate that. Just put it in the comments or message me where I can find that. So because of that, there are definitely times when the F word is used in a malicious way. And it can be used in that way as well, and I'm not up for that at all. In this case, I want to look at the word should. And the reason I'm considering it such a bad word is because of the effect that it has on our psyche, on our moods, on our performance. And then, of course, we're going to tie it in to the topic of mental fitness. We use the word either directly or indirectly, and I will come to the indirect ones in a moment. So I think we all, I mean, I definitely use the word should in my language. And I think most people, if not everybody listening to this, most likely you would be listening to this if you're not one of those people who from time to time use the should word. I should fill in the blank. The I want to give you an opportunity to experience. This is an exercise I've done many, many, many times, both with people one-on-one and with groups. So I know that it works. So I invite you to join me in this. And if for some reason you can't step into this exercise right now, depending on where and how you're listening to this, then either pause this and find a space and a time to do what I'm asking you to do or inviting you to do, and then come back and carry on. Or listen to this whole thing, but making sure to come back to that exercise because of the power of it. What I'm gonna ask you to do, invite you to do, whatever way you like it, is to pick a should, like a common should in your life at this moment in time. So it might be I should lose some weight, or I should be a better leader. I should be more of a leader than a manager. I should treat my colleagues better. I should spend more time with the family. I should spend more time with the children. I should exercise more. I should drink less. I should. And I'm asking you to pick one. Doesn't have to be a huge, massive shoot in your life, but one that kind of sits there on a regular basis, one that you're really familiar with. And then I'm going to ask you to say the sentence. It will most likely be a very short sentence, like, I should look better after my health. I should exercise more. So I've given you plenty of examples. So pick one now for yourself that is relevant to you at this moment in time. I should get the admin work done. I should get the tax stuff done. I should get those emails sorted. I should tidy the office. whatever it is. Just one. Just pick that one. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to say that sentence over and over. And if you're in a space and you're okay with it, you can say it out loud. If there's nobody around. But you don't need to say it out loud at all. You can just say it in your own mind. Just repeat that sentence, whatever the sentence is for you. And we're going to do that for a little while, not a long while. It's not for hundreds of times, but 10, 15 times. Just keep saying that same sentence. I should fill in the blank. I should fill in the blank. And I will be quiet for a little moment so you can focus on that. I should fill in the blanks. One more time. I should. Hmm. Okay, so now stop. If you can, if it's safe at this moment, time to close your eyes, do that. Otherwise, keep them open if you're driving. And now be aware of how you're feeling. Be aware of the energy in your body. Be aware of how you are feeling. Now, if you are like the vast majority of people, you're going to be feeling some level of lower energy, some feeling of contraction, some feeling of not feeling good, of not feeling up for going into life and getting stuff done. That's the most common feeling that we human beings get when we are shooting. I should this, I should that. It has a negative feeling. It is no good for our mental fitness, nor our mental health, nor our success. It's a very good recipe for procrastination. And in that, I talk from experience. I'm a master at that. Now, we can't leave you hanging in that, can we? So what we're going to do the solution. I'm now going to give you the solution. And I think you might be blown away by how simple and how powerful it is. We are going to take the word should out of the sentence and we're going to replace it with one of two words. I will give you a moment to guess what those two words are. And you get to choose, of course, which of those two words because they are both valid. The first word is will. The second word is won't. So instead of going, I should exercise more, it becomes, I will exercise more or I won't exercise more. So with the one you were just doing, with the should, make that decision right now for now. You can change it in an hour, you can change it tomorrow, you can change it next week. But for now, in this moment, decide whether you're going to replace the word should with will or won't. Either is fine. Now, I'm going to ask you again, I'm going to give you a minute or so to repeat that sentence. I will exercise more. I won't exercise more. I will lose some weight. I won't lose some weight. I will look more after my team. I won't look more after my team. I will tidy the desk. I won't tidy the desk. Whatever your sentence was, keep repeating that now with either will or won't. I'll give you a moment of quiet. Aim. one or two more times. I will or I won't. And now again, if you can close your eyes, that will be good. Otherwise, don't. Um, and feel into your being right now. How are you feeling? What is your level of energy? What is your body posture? And if you are similar to all the people I've done this with, you will be feeling a completely different energy. Often people will tell me they feel empowered. They feel energetic. They feel ready to take on the challenge that they've been putting off for so long. And that's all there is to it. It is that simple. The hard part is remembering to do it, not doing it. Because I hope that you just did this with me now. And you have had that feeling. If it wasn't a big shift, that's okay. Practice. And you will learn ways of doing it for you that really works the best way for you, whether it's saying things out loud or quiet or putting a certain speed to it, a certain volume to it in your head. Even you might want to put some movements to it. But in general, when I'm watching people, when we have the first one, will I should, there is a downward feeling, head comes down slightly, face sort of moves into a not that kind of energetic, happy looking face. Shoulders might come in a little bit, breathing goes a little bit shallow, and you might have noticed any or all of that. And then when we come to, well, I will, or I won't. There is a more of an up. The effect comes up, the face changes because it is a different energy. So that's it. That's a solution to that. Now I have a number of other things that I want to add on to that. For a start, what has this got to do with mental fitness? It has, like per usual, everything to do with mental fitness. So the higher our level of mental fitness is in that particular moment when we are in the should feeling space, the less likely we are to shift it. Because there is something useful to shooting, not useful for our happiness and our success, but useful for our saboteurs, our ego. So to get past that, that's where we need the mental fitness. So the higher your level of mental fitness is in the moment when there's a should in your head, whether it's loud or quiet. The loud ones are the easiest one to deal with because we hear them clearly. Oh yeah, I really should getting to the gym, you know. It's really loud and clear, and then we go, okay, I'm gonna pull myself together, and I will go to the gym, and then we go. It's really subtle ones that are really quiet, that are managing very quietly to talk us out of doing things, particularly things we don't enjoy doing or we find challenging or confronting. And then that's where procrastination comes in. Whenever we are procrastinating, there's a should there somewhere. Therefore, as per usual, growing our mental fitness is our gateway, not only to success, but also our gateway to get out of the shoulds and shift them into wills and won'ts. So just think about, some people that are really successful, either in one particular area or overall in general. That, of course, includes you, but in this moment, I would like for you to think about somebody else. And then, like people and that you're around quite a bit. And then ask yourself the question, in that area that they are successful, how often do you feel that they are shooting themselves and I really should do this work, or I really should go for that run because I got a marathon coming up. And my guess is that you won't hear hardly any shoots from that particular person in that particular area of their life where they are successful. So if you want to be successful in areas that you're not currently successful in, then there is most likely some shoots there that are keeping you from creating that success that you want to create. And I've already given you the tool. Recognize, oh, there was a shoot. And as I said before, when the like for example procrastination is there, or frustration or anger or worry or anxiety, when those emotions are there, there is almost always a should hanging around somewhere. That's my other invitation for you in those moments, from a learning and an awareness point of view and a growing of mental fitness point of view, to just take a pause and go, what is the should here? Which brings me to one more, I've got a couple of more things, one more thing tying in with this. And that is the word itself, the word should, doesn't have to be in the sentence in order for there to be a should in the sentence. What do I mean by that? We could have a sentence without the word should in it, but the sentence is a should sentence. Yeah. So if I say to myself, I'm eating too much, I'm not exercising enough, I'm not being kind enough, I'm a lousy manager. In all of those sentences, can you hear the underlying should? I'm not exercising enough means I should exercise more. My work-life balance is not good. The should in there is my work-life balance should be good. And they can be a little bit more tricky, those ones. So just think for yourself right now, if you can think of a sentence that you might be using on a regular basis that doesn't have the word should in it, but there is a hidden should inside it. And what you do in that case, you should just change the sentence like I just did before and put the word should in somewhere. You will be able to fit it in somewhere. If it's already implied in the sentence, the word will fit. And then you say that to yourself a few times just to feel that feeling. Don't overdo it. And then you change it and you put in the word will or won't and say that, well, 4 or 5 times is typically enough. And you will feel the shift. And then depending on if it was a will, then you take the action that you said you would take. If it's a won't, then you don't take that action, but you are absolutely, totally, 100% happy with that because you made a decision not to. And we can't do everything in life that we want to do. There's not time enough for it. So we have to prioritize. So there are certain things that we would like to do that we can't fit in today. So we just won't do those things. Instead of saying, well, I shouldn't do those things or I should do those things. Just make that decision that I won't do that today. And then that releases that energy of the should and puts you into a better space. It actually puts you into a better mental fitness place or space. So this is a simple tool to get into a better mental fitness place and to grow your mental fitness. Now, You might then be questioning at this moment in time, well, that was all about me. What about all these other things that other people should be doing? In general, in that, it is our should. It is like the kids should be more quiet. The kids should behave better. The staff should perform better. The boss should be nicer to me. The weather should be better. The roads should be maintained better. The government should do better. So a lot of us do a lot of shooting about things outside of ourselves. And many of those shoulds you will find that you can't do anything about. The weather, the government, politicians, the global financial situation, and on and on and on. The shit drivers on the road that annoys the hell out of you. Hmm. They shouldn't drive like that. It's what's in your mind, maybe. That used to definitely be what was in my mind a lot. So I had to learn to get rid of that and not give other people the power to make me feel that way because of their style of driving. Still gets me at times, but generally I'm out of it within a few seconds. There's just that recognition that there is a should that I put into the situation. And then I can drop that and in general just let it go. In those cases where there is a should about somebody else or something else, again, make the decision, change it to either I will do something about that, if that is within your power, or I won't do something about that. So if somebody is doing something at work that is not acceptable to you, and you believe that they should be doing it better, then you can decide whether you're just gonna go, no, that's fine, I'm okay with that, I won't do anything about that, and be happy with that decision. Or I will do something about that, whatever that action might be, depending on your position and depending on the story. Same thing with a bad driver. Mostly it is, I won't do anything about that because what should I do? Should I do that will make that driver behave differently? And I'm not quite sure what that would be. So generally that is like, no, I'm not going to do anything about that. I'm just going to let it go and be happy with that. Then that brings me to the very last part of of this. And that's now coming back into ourselves. And then that can easily be somebody else's behavior that is triggering something in me. So now let's take the example of the road and bad drivers, or what I would judge as bad drivers. In that, now I am experiencing something. And that could be anger, it could be frustration, it could be irritation, it could be I'm just annoyed. So let's just say I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with somebody. You're frustrated with somebody else's behavior at work, at home, the wife, the husband, the kids, so on. Now, what most human beings do most of the time without knowing is that when they are feeling that, there are two shoots. First, there's the obvious one. That driver shouldn't drive that way. That person should behave that way. That politician shouldn't be doing what he or she is doing. So that's the one should. That's the easier one to deal with. What's the other should that is likely to be there? The other should is somewhere in our being. We are saying, and I'm putting in air quotes here because we are not saying it out loud most of the time, but we are in a roundabout way saying, I should not feel this way. I should not be angry. Because we know at some level that if we linger onto that feeling, if we just have the feeling and we respond to that feeling, deal with it and move forward, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what most of us do a lot of the time is that we linger in that, and now we are upset for the next 5 minutes about that driver that caused us to get really, really pissed off. So we hold on to that, or something that happened in a business meeting or a presentation you were doing and it just didn't go the way that you had hoped it would go. And you can spend hours or days going around that, feeling guilty, feeling upset, feeling whatever. So when we do that for a prolonged period of time, like more than 10, 15 seconds, now there will be this other underlying should that says, I should not feel this way. Because at one level, we feel justified feeling that way and we feel good about feeling that way. At another level, we don't feel good about feeling the way we're feeling if we are frustrated or angry or anxious. Again, not just for a short moment, but for a prolonged period of time. There is a part of our being that goes, this is not good. This is not right. I don't want to feel, I want to feel happy. So there is a should there, isn't there? I shouldn't feel guilty. I shouldn't feel upset with fill in the blank. Now, what are we going to do with that should? And that's a slightly different approach because we can't use the will and the won't into that kind of sentence that's not really there. It's there, but it's not really there. What do you suggest we do about those moments to shift out of that tension of I'm feeling this way, but I don't want to feel this way? What is the solution to that? And here's my suggestion, again as a sentence. So you're noticing the feeling that you want to shift out of. And then from a sentence point of view, all you have to do is saying, I am, and then what you are. I am upset. I am frustrated. I am anxious. And then just repeat that, just like what we did before. And in most cases, unless it's super intense, in most cases, if you do that, what you're going to find is that that feeling is going to ease off and quite possibly disappear altogether. Because what we're doing in that sentence, we are acknowledging what is, and we're making that decision that it is okay. It's not, I shouldn't feel this way. It's like, I am feeling this way. Yeah. Acknowledging that. Just like with taking the should, I should do, fill in the blank, and we change that to I will do. Like we are accepting what is in front of us and we're deciding whether we're going to do it or not going to do it. So by deciding in a conscious way what I am experiencing in this moment, getting frustrated with that driver, so I am frustrated. What it does, it removes the focus on the event that causes the frustration. If you're not going to do something about the event, about the driver, or whatever it is, we talked about that earlier, then what you're left with is the ability to just experiencing what you're experiencing and detaching that from what caused it. If you're not going to do anything about the cause, detach yourself from the cause and just acknowledge how you're feeling. And because you're removing that which caused it in a way, at least from your mind, then the feeling that came or the emotion that came from it will dissipate, because you're not giving it the energy, you're not giving it the fuel. That takes a reasonable amount of mental fitness, mental awareness of yourself to be able to pull that off, which if you're listening to this, most likely you have. It's not a black and white thing as per usual. So with that, how are we going to finish this off today? Fuck the shoots, really, is my message. Because they're really no good for you. And to me, there's only one swear word in there, and it's not the F word in this particular case. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas, any tools and tricks you are using to, minimize or cutting out the shoots in your life, whether it's at home or at work. So my question, as per usual for you, is what was the biggest takeaway for you today in this episode? And if you feel so inclined, pop it in the comments. We'll love to hear it. And also, as per usual, please focus on growing your mental fitness in a conscious way. Till next time. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success. If you have stories of how mental fitness has benefited you that you are happy to share, go to my website, mikael.nz, click on podcast and fill in the guest application form. If you want direct support from me utilizing my 40 years of mental fitness learning and practice, email me at coach@mikael.nz or message me on LinkedIn. Any feedback, review, share, follow, like, or any other good stuff is of course appreciated. Thank you for listening to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast. I'm your host, Mikael Nielsen.